Hi, this is Lily. This is my first video, and not my first video, I just made another one, but I was too all over the place. Anyways, I want to talk about variables, spirals, and fractals, and how time works. It'll be interesting. I do a lot of meditation. I've only recently got into, like, Buddhism as religion, because I don't really believe in religion, because for some reason I've experienced every religion, so all of them have some credence because they all exist in the mind somewhere. So fiction just plays out to be alive whenever you read it. If that makes any sense, because at some point you're being read about, right? That's infinite, Anyways, first, what I want to get across is the idea of a spiral, like just a regular spiral. And what you'll notice about a spiral is that there's a center point, and then it goes along like this, and then there's outer points that are along the line. And you can figure out anything in this universe by using a spiral, by putting, say, a planet, and then you can figure out how gravity works along the spiral. Not just gravity, because that's a thicker idea. The way you figure things out is by variables that you see around you on your plane of existence. Instead of looking at science, what you can do is be scientific on your own. And this is how you do it. Here's my phone. Here's a candle. Here's some sleeping pills. And here's me. The way my mind works, and I took training to do this, myself training, anyways, is I'm here at the center point because if you look at everything, you're always at the center of your own universe. You can always look around, and there's always just as far as much over there as there is over here, and backwards, and anywhere else, and that's not on purpose. It's a function of mathematics and a geometrical sequence. The real reason why is because the universe is a symbol that isn't quantifiable, if that makes any sense. By symbol, I mean a mathematical expression, something to be seen whenever you look into a word and you instantly have identification with what that word is. Like if you look at the word wood, and wood, the processing happens for wood as an actual stick of wood, as opposed to the actual thing. And so we can't access the symbolic representation to go into our minds, or I don't know what would happen. Maybe the whole system would crash. I have no idea. But it's not there. Going back to my sleeping pills, my candle, and me, and my phone. You're at the center, and along that spiral, right, is the sleeping pill, the phone, and the candle. First, what you'll notice is that they're all equal distance from one another, which means that you can then take the candle, and this is just, I think this is called, I forget what this is called in mathematics, but basically 2 plus 3 is 5, right? Yeah. 2 plus 3 is 5, and 3 plus 2 is 5. There's a certain, law that allows that to happen. And so if you take one of these variables and you switch them around, it's still the same reality. But if you do it this way, you can look at the variables and they're rearrangeable, which means everything is rearrangeable. If you look at everything in the universe, it just depends on what order it needs to go in for it to make sense in your cognitive mind, which in my opinion, it's all over the place. It is the mind that is causing things to give the illusion that they're all ducks in a row, because we have a consistency of the nonsense that's entering into our perception that allows us to think that I light the candle and I take my sleeping pills to have a nice sleep. Or maybe I shouldn't do that because of fire hazard. But anyways, in actuality, for example, if you make breakfast, you turn the stove on, you get a plate, and you cook the eggs, and you add cheese, and you put it on the plate and you eat it. That's how we think we're viewing things. When I look at that, I see the variables all rearranged along a spiral, and time is a singular instant in which you're viewing from top down, and those variables can be rearranged, but from the perspective of someone that's along that spiral or at the center of that spiral, it would look as if they're always eating those eggs at the end and always lighting the fire at the beginning when they aren't. And so when you become more aware through meditation, your mind will start to rearrange things differently. And I want to roll here. It will rearrange things differently and allow you to perceive reality as it really is. And this takes meditation. Because your meditation is you're just stealing the variable that's yourself, so you can notice how these things are being rearranged. So, am I really lighting the candle first, taking my pills first, or am I doing both at the same time? Who knows? There's no way to know what's really going on. That's what makes choice a vector. It's a point in which you can then take awareness and give the illusion that that something is happening within its own system. I hope I'm blowing your mind. So another thing about the spiral is that it's scientific. There's this thing called Maria's axiom, and the idea is that Maria's axiom, and there's a riddle. It says from 1 to 2, and from 2 to 3, and from 3 to 4, and out of the fourth comes the 1. The answer is hydrogen. It took me meeting a physicist who could read my mind to tell me this. I couldn't figure it out. I was thinking about yin and yang. I was thinking about those thicker ideas. So if I say the word stethoscope, it's a tool, and I can think about it. But if I say the word science, it's a thicker idea, and it doesn't belong on the same threshold, the same variable that would go along the spiral. It would mess it up, and it would create a gravitational pull along the variables themselves. Does it make sense? Like a gravitational pull, because it's a thicker idea in the mind. And I think this is what planetary motion is all about. I think there are thicker things, thickness, right? That are causing a pull that isn't physical, but it's purely information. And we can see that in our own heads, which is fractally connected to the rest of the universe and how it's also processing itself in order for it to function. I think I'm going to stop at 10 minutes. Okay, let me think. Going back to symbols, if you take any word like rain or love or brain, whatever it is, if you look at the word, there's a little image in your head. That's actually Buddha nature. That's like the place that is existent, like transcendentally, that you have absorbed when you were a child, when you learn about words, or when you later learn about new words, which tells me that in your own mind, as soon as you look at a word that is from another language, like, and if you even look at the word language, there's a little squiggly thing in your head that you see. If you look at the word language, I wish I could put the word language on the screen so you could see that little image that's kind of incorporeal and doesn't make sense to your own mind. It is a real image, and it is how the word language looks like to yourself. And everyone's little language is different. Pardon the pun. So, and this goes even further. I can say, if you look at the word ocean, and then go to the ocean, and then write a book about a character who visits the ocean, the word is still the same. Is it all interconnected like a wormhole? And the word ocean, like ocean itself, since that's a place that exists in a mental sphere of information, independently of human thought, once it's written down. So what's interesting about that is that how can it be the same word, but on different layers of reality that we are creating as creators, like a book, because you can look at the words Sam visited the ocean, and that word is identically to the same as if you were to write the word ocean right in front of you. Are those connected? And even more of a question is, what about the word in your mind whenever you say the word ocean? Is there a connection always to every single point of ocean? And if you go to an actual ocean, is there a memory database in the universe that's non-conscious that realizes that it's an ocean? Just food for thought. That's how I start to like piece things together. You just kind of have fun with the variables, and you use a spiral, and you look at them and you think to yourself, well, how is it connecting? How is it disconnected? Maybe this or that. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's my first video. I want to keep it about 10 minutes. So yeah, on part 2, I'm going to go talk about time and how it's interrelated. Have a good one. Thank you for viewing. I don't know what else to say.